Hi, and welcome to the Forgotten Television Podcast. I'm Carlos Figueroa. We are continuing our breakdown of the great 70s series, The White Shadow. With me is my co-host, Joe Riley. How are you, Joe?
Carlos, I'm doing very well. Thank you for this beautiful, bright, but cool Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'll take it. Even though it's May, we still have the fear of potential flurries. But
Correct.
I need to tell you, I've been a little bit indisposed away from my TV for reasons. What's going on with our Timberwolves? My understanding is they did away with the Nuggets, but in a very painful way. So update me on what's happening.
So yes, we in the first series we didn't get a gentleman's sweep, which is 4-1, but we did win 4-2 against the Nuggets, and a lot of that occurred without Anthony Edwards, who got hurt, and then also Dante DiVincenzo, who is out for the season.
Yeah.
So Anthony Edwards missed the whole remaining portion of the Denver series, which I think was 3 games.
Okay.
But the Wolves rallied. Ayo Dosunmu, who was a guard at home, scored 43 points.
Oh, wow.
Career high and he was pretty almost much one of the MVPs of that particular Denver series.
Awesome.
And it proved true that the Denver Nuggets have very poor rim protection, and all we did was go into the paint, sprinkled in with some 3-pointers that allowed us to.
See, I'm more of a boxing fan than a basketball fan, but that to me is use your jab fundamentals, just bound up.
So it was great to see them win and to see other people contribute. Even 19-year veteran Mike Conley has played well.
Is it fair to say that there's a lot of bad blood with the Nuggets? Are they like a big, huge Timberwolves rival?
Now they're, including the media, is trying to pump that up, the big rivalry between these two teams. So it will be interesting to see when next year rolls about, who's going to be on the Denver Nuggets, because there's rumors they're going to have to switch things up.
Okay.
And then B, who the Wolves are going to look like even. We'll see. I think that'll tell that tale will be told how far we go in the playoffs too as well.
So now we're playing San Antonio, right? And we're tied 1-1? Is that
tied
correct?
1-1. We were able to go out and win the first game in San Antonio.
Okay.
The aforementioned Mike Conley, 19-year veteran, so he's almost in our generation, Carlos. Not quite, but
close enough.
He makes $1 million a year on a veteran minimum. And he was playing against their point guard, who makes $37 million a year, and he outplayed them. It was just the one game that happened. So but, we lost game 2 by 30-some points, 33, I believe.
Is Edwards really healthy? Did he rush back too soon?
He was pretty limited. His get up and go, his lift, it was off. But after we got blown out in the second game, we played last night, and it was a close game. But we still lost. But Edwards started this game, but he's playing. He played much better, though. Their superstar Victor Wembanyama had a massive game, and those guys managed to win. So then
we're down 2-1, or are we 1-1?
We are down 2-1 now.
Okay,
so
all right.
Big game tomorrow, Sunday. Correct, tomorrow.
Okay.
And if we win that, we go 2-2, which means we have to win again in San Antonio if we're going to win the series. But
okay. All right. You are my Wolves guy. I'm a baseball guy.
Yeah.
We knew each other when we first met. I was a big basketball guy because I was this height when I was like 11 years old, which made basketball a much easier sport. I'll tell you that. But I wanted to, since last week you got me with a little bit of trivia.
Oh, yeah.
Thought I'd hit back on Wolves trivia.
Okay.
And I'm going to take you back to 1989, the very first draft of the Timberwolves.
Gotcha.
The amateur draft, not the exhibition or what do you call the new franchise draft, but the amateur draft. And I'm not going to bore you with who was the first pick because everybody knows it's Pooh Richardson.
Yeah.
There were 2 second-round picks. If you can name either one, you're successful. If you name both, then I retire from all time because I've never heard of one of them.
2 second-round picks, huh? Donald Royal?
No, sir.
No Donald Royal. David Rivers?
Nope.
No.
One was a very solid early Wolf for a while.
A solid Wolf for a while. I only remember the odd names, like a guy named Todd with only one O and one D. I guess he would only have one O.
I'm not going to extend this so we can get on to talk about White Shadow, but with the 34th pick in the second round, the Wolves selected Gary Leonard from Milwaukee.
Okay.
And with the 38th pick in the second round, the Wolves selected
Doug West. So
Doug West was a consistent name in those early Wolves teams.
Yeah.
I think that you probably could do a comedy podcast on Wolves draft picks.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd hit you with some obscurity there.
No, that's pretty good. A little note about Doug West.
Yeah.
He's known mostly, in my mind anyway, for he blocked Michael Jordan in the game that we beat the Bulls. And we beat the Bulls. One of the reasons was because someone called in a prank call taking Michael Jordan off the court to deal with something he thought was a family issue.
That's awful, and I apologize for laughing, but no one was hurt in this incident.
Correct. No one was hurt, and then I think from that point on, obviously it's pre-internet days, but I think then someone who had call in had to have a code word now to get Mike.
Yeah.
So, but that's the one, and that was the game that Doug West blocked Michael Jordan. There you go. But yeah,
excellent.
I only remember, I just remember going to those early years and just seeing the guys that I remember.
My first Wolves game was in the Metrodome.
Yes, me too.
Now, what was it? Randy Brewer was our big star, I think.
Randy Brewer was a star. Then we had a guy named Tony. I forget his last name, was a scorer for us. And then we had Sidney Lowe was a guard for us.
And then early on, I also remember, because, my dad, little guy.
Yep.
5'5". He would have said 5'6", but let's just go more like 5'5". We had really good seats. I typically don't buy expensive seats. I get them given to me. And really good seats blend to the basket. And he was injured at the time, but they had a little interview area. And Luke Longley is one of the largest human beings I have ever seen in my entire life. You just do not realize what freaks of nature these human beings are.
Yeah, and that's one of those things about basketball players. I remember George Bush commenting on that. He goes, he was at a baseball, it was an all-star game or a little league. He goes, I like baseball. There's normal-sized people out there on the field.
That's why, unfortunate to what happened, but to me, my favorite player was Jose Altuve because it reminded me of my dad. Because my dad used to say, you don't have to be 7 feet tall. You don't have to be 300 pounds to be a baseball player. It comes in all shapes and sizes, and I will never forget. I think it was a Sports Illustrated cover of Aaron Judge on second base and Altuve standing next to him, and these two are of the same species and also very good at the same game.
Yeah, there it is. There's a lot of short guys to make their way into the game, especially shortstop, second baseman. Typically are quick and fast. But no, it's
now let me give you a real pro broadcaster's transition. Do you know who else is not a little guy? That would be Ken Howard.
That's right, Ken Howard, our coach, Coach Reeves.
Coach Reeves, and the first part of the pilot is we established that Ken Reeves is an NBA basketball player for the Chicago Bulls. We see
correct.
Fair amount of game footage, and I'm going to say not bad for 70s recreation of basketball. I felt like the NBA stuff felt real.
Yeah, I did. And then even some of the practices to a point, the drills that they did were real too as well. Yeah. And they
didn't quite have a full court at Carver High.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a half court. It was... Yeah. At least they filmed it with the right lenses to not make it. Some movies like Teen Wolf, you can tell they're filming it in a room. It's not a basketball court, right?
Yeah.
But I thought they did a fairly good job. And those are the kind of annoying things that sometimes if you watch stuff from the 60s or 70s, it's hard to get past. Yeah. But I think they did a decent job at a time where it was network television. They didn't have CGI or blue screen or anything to make it look good. So I thought that it looked good.
Yeah, I thought that looked good. And I think, too, that the makeup of the players, their sizes, even though obviously it was very interracial, too, as well, I think they had good chemistry. Do you know? And I think that helps.
I like the suit on game day.
Yep. So I just think that they did a nice job of assembling a very believable team that you could, as someone in 1978, say, they're really playing basketball. To a certain point.
Now, here's one where someone wasn't paying attention. You would not have an injured player sitting on the bench reading a newspaper during a game.
No, you would not.
That would not happen. And so that was a little silly. It's a pilot, right? A pilot has to accomplish a lot of things. It has to establish who the people are and what the story is and what the tension. Yeah. So they gloss over the fact that this guy goes from NBA star or NBA pro
Yeah.
to inner city high school basketball coach.
It's glossed over. Yeah.
You have to suspend belief a little bit to be able to buy into the story.
But yeah, but I think when he gets out there,
yeah,
it's his ability as an actor to come in there and be a coach, and his kind of chemistry with his players is pretty much established.
He felt very real.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
Felt, hey, listen, I got to solve a problem. I need the guard. Okay, listen, let's let him because once again, he's not trying to solve the world's education crisis.
Correct.
He's trying, and you can tell by he takes Hayward's kids into his sister's life, right? Yes. And he actually is a human being that cares. So you're setting that up as somebody who cares, and you're setting it up that he's in a world of, he's a bit of a fish out of water.
Yep. Naive a little bit
about the kinds of things that are faced. And I think, I cannot remember the name of the vice principal, but
Miss Pringle.
Yes, Joan Pringle. That's right. Sybil Buchanan. She is the perfect foil for him. And they have some great conversations. But seriously, I've been accused of becoming a softie in my old age, but the show has heart, right?
Oh, yeah.
It has heart. And the kids are too, right? Because the kids are dumbasses. They're probably greater dumbasses than my experience,
Correct.
But not a factor of multiples greater than how big a dumbass I was.
I get you.
It's very believable. He first meets them in the gym and they're like, hey, I think this guy played. And they're like, why the hell would anybody play in the NBA be doing coaching our team?
Exactly.
Which is a great way to lean into it.
And then I think it was the first episode talks about Hayward a lot. And so the leader of the team.
Yeah.
And then who's the main focal point of, he needs to watch his little brother, giant dog.
Sick. Yeah.
But it's then they take it a little bit to the nth degree when the sister agrees to watch the kid all day and the dog. Yeah. And then the husband of Coach Reeves' sister, initially against it all, but is really sad and buys him a big wheel because, kind of
it's clear he's got a little baby fever going on.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And so that's fun. Honestly, thinking back, I really didn't remember the sister or the brother-in-law character. Either. But a fun flavor and fun to have him he's got somewhat of an anchor in L.A. He's not a completely all on his own.
What I was struck when I rewatched it again this morning, the pilot is, and I didn't catch it the first time. So Reeves is about to leave. The little boy and the dog are at with the sister, and he goes, do you have a TV? The little boy says to Ken Reeves' sister, and she says, yes, it's in the den. And the little boy responds, what's a den?
Yeah.
But those cultural things, right? Some of those things that I think the writers and the producer of this kind of put in these little subtle things like, well, this is the difference between different cultures.
It is. And once again, can't gloss over the fact this is the very first television show to feature a majority African-American cast.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I am still struck that so much of history is in my lifetime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that's not just that is in the wheelhouse as I was growing up. And for the first time, I remember being in law school and having a professor that was part of the first graduating class of women at the University of Minnesota Law School, 1976.
Gotcha.
Around
that's
then
crazy.
Not to get on a soapbox, but this show has some significance. This is not just kids playing basketball. It really did air some interesting, I thought, some compelling television.
Most definitely. And then I think, too, the interplay between Reeves of that first episode and Hayward, like Reeves trying to get his leader, because Hayward is kind of the leader of the whole particular team, to get him back, seemed to be a very noble cause, though, and a little bit naive, but something that, from his perspective, he wanted to do because he cared about not only the kid, but he wanted his basketball team to be the best thing in the world. Now it goes, at least from my mind, it goes a little off the rails when he goes into the grocery store and the boss is mean to Hayward.
Yeah.
and the grocery store is not something that I envision as a grocery store. But maybe
it's very much a Little House on the Prairie type stocked store.
Yes. So it was just something that kind of struck me when I saw that, but it was compelling. And then even they're going to one of the games, and Reeves is driving that old rattly bus.
Yeah.
So it's from that perspective I was looking at it like, I wonder if that's going to happen. These kids, it was just something where the coach typically wouldn't do something like that. How did he get licensed so quickly?
I did something similar to what you were talking about. I examined in my mind him making Hayward be the first one that he reaches out to. I started in my mind comparing it to Hoosiers.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Like how do I come in? I'm coming into an organization. They don't know me. How do I start building rapport and respect and authority? Because that is step one for any leader. Because if your troops, if you excuse the military reference, ain't buying it, they ain't buying it. Because a lot of them are like going, I've seen a lot of like you before, and I'll see a lot like you after.
Yeah.
But he was good. And he met Hayward on his home turf, right? He went to his house. And that, I guess that's one thing I like about the Ken Reeves character. He's, I'm going to go to the kid's house, see what the heck's going on.
And I'm going to ask for a beer.
Am I violating any rules? And should I break that? There should be boundaries between. No, I got a problem. We got to get this kid to play. I need a point guard. I thought it was well done. And then we'll get to meet all of the characters have their own story arcs as we go through.
Correct.
There's Thorpe. There's a very show we're going to have to cover involving Salami.
Yep.
There are pregnancy scares and legal issues and grade issues and ego issues. And so we've got a long way to go. I think from the pilot, I think we'll maybe talk about some other significant shows that exist and kind of give a feel for what's happening in season one.
Yeah. And I don't know if we talked about it, but Hayward was unique in a couple ways. I can't remember if I mentioned that he always wore the necklace with the African-shaped pendant, which is never really explained. And what is also unique about this particular show, which I've read commentary about this, but is that in the 70s, the show doesn't wrap things up in a neat package, right?
No.
There was the end. He's left the grocery store. He doesn't have a job. So now what happens?
Yep.
And so this was very shocking. They said to audiences of 78. Now, I don't remember being shocked, but again, I was a dumb 13-year-old kid.
Yeah. You can draw all kinds of analogies, but there are elements of this show that fit into what is nowadays called prestige television, right? Not a monster of the week episode where things are always cleared up after.
Yeah.
It has a continuing storyline and continuing tensions. That's the thing is the tension of being an inner city high school basketball coach has to be pretty constant. The number of landmines that you're going to hit, some kid's in trouble, somebody did something.
Yep.
What do I got to clean up today?
And then I think too, I read that they didn't want to see Ken Reeves, the coach, as this white knight that was going to solve all their problems. That he was learning along the way with them.
Yes. Yep.
And I think they kind of even came to that not all at once too, because in that first episode of the pilot, you'll see he drives a cherry red Mustang.
Yep.
And then in subsequent episodes, he drives a station wagon.
Yep.
So I think those writers, those producers were wrestling with some of those things. And this is back in 1978, which is not something. But you know what? I mean,
it may be a very subtle way to reflect that his lifestyle has changed significantly in his career. You know?
Because
like
episode,
I said, I'm going to be more cognizant going forward because I did not get the impression of this being a white savior show.
Yeah,
but
nope.
But that is something that it is not. It gets bad labels, but I'll use the general ones I learned in school: critical discourse analysis and looking at things from different perspectives. Walking a mile in someone's shoes. There's lots of ways to say it, but I want to be more cognizant of that. I don't think that. I think that he was learning the skills of being a teacher. This being really good as an athlete in a sport does not make you a great coach.
Yeah.
Tony Gwynn or Ted Williams cannot explain
exactly
how their brain and reflexes work to mere mortals.
Yep. And
there are great players that are able to be great coaches, but I think it's usually the catcher, right? That's the one, the quarterback. So Reeves is learning.
Yep, I agree.
He's learning. Not only is he a fish out of water, but he's learning this new role. And it'll be interesting to see. And I'm assuming he's not going to run a triangle offense, but let's see what he does. Let's see what kind of an in-game strategist Ken Reeves is.
Yeah,
I don't think I thought about it like that.
He did a nice, I think they bringing that along, that trust factor, raising trust between those two things, and fairly well.
Like the end of the episode is he's, I'll be all over you, or I'll always be there for you, like a white shadow. And so it's interesting that the nickname is given to him by the players at a moment of love.
Yep.
And I shouldn't say love, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
In the afterglow of a great victory and coming together as a team and maybe having some skills.
Yeah. The two things I think Reeves did in those episodes very smartly was he recognized Hayward as the leader of all those young men.
He did. Yep.
And then for Jackson, who was a little bit on the fringes.
Yep.
As in that particular first episode, always wore shades and the hat.
Yep.
And when he wanted to go into practice, Reeves didn't say, take off your shades and your hat. He said, give me one or the other.
Yep.
And so he takes the shades. And then in the game, as Jackson's getting into the game, as Jackson's running in, he grabs the hat off his head.
Yep.
I think that was like trying to meet those players halfway.
Yeah. Think about good coaches that I've had. Yes, it was about the skill transfer or the instruction, but it was more about, or expand it beyond sports, great leaders I've worked for. It's more than just execution. There's something about creating the feeling of a team.
Yep.
That I'm sure that lots of people have written lots of best-selling books about, but that is a skill set. And we'll throw that into one of the intelligences. And I'm enjoying watching Ken Reeves figure out how to do that.
Yeah, and for me too, Reeves is not he's not what you would say I don't want to say he's not a player's coach, but he's going to make them do some things that are tough.
Yeah.
And he's not a soft, everybody okay, everyone got their participation trophy.
Yeah. Or does everybody agree that we're going to do this? No.
Yeah.
This is, as my father said to me with love as a child, was, this is a dictatorship. I am the dictator. You are the dictatee.
Indeed. And then I thought Ken Reeves got a little bit of that. I just rewatching the episode this morning. He got a little philosophical about the free throw.
Yeah.
And how it compares to life. And this was Jackson who was shooting a free throw. But so I think those were pretty good too as well. I'm skipping ahead to the little preview of the second episode, I think there. So, but it's great. But Hayward, I read that after high school, he went on to college and he majored in pre-law. So his leader became a leader too as well. So I think that he was the key for Reeves to really get the team on board.
Yes. Yep, he definitely was that character, obviously designed to be that way, but that was the role he took. And even by his body language, I can't remember the actor's name, but he has a presence.
Yeah.
And that's good casting for that role.
And I'm interested to see as the episodes progress and I watch more, is he the Reggie Jackson? Is he the straw that stirs the drink, so to speak, for this going on? And a little bit about that actor, his name is Thomas Carter, who played Hayward.
Yes.
He is a mere 71 years old now.
Wow.
And
Joe Riley, please don't do things like that to me, because I feel things creaking that shouldn't creak. 71.
He directed Metro.
Okay.
And then also Coach Carter. So he's been a director for a lot of his career as the Hayward.
I'd like to have him on to confirm once and for all that Ryan Gosling is really a shitty D-back. Am I thinking of the right movie? No, maybe not.
I don't know.
Is that Coach Carter? No,
Coach
I'm
Carter
thinking
was
of the other one.
Movie with.
Okay, I'm thinking of a football movie. Never mind.
No, there you go. But it's enjoyable watching it. Not only that I lived through it, but it doesn't feel like I did.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't my kind of culture milieu at that time.
Yeah.
But then looking at it from my lens now about, oh, wow, this wouldn't happen in 2026.
Have you ever gone back and tried to watch a show that you once loved and are like, wow, this just does not hit anymore?
Yes, and I actually bought all the CDs as I look to my right here for all those listening to us on the pod. There used to be a show that came out in 1980, I think it was right after the Super Bowl, called Battlestar Galactica.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
earlier. And I bought the CDs from the original series. There's a newer one that came out in the 90s.
Yep.
And it didn't quite hold up as well in a little bit of instances that made me want to go through and watch the whole thing. But I still have all of the CDs now that I bought of them. But some of those kind of things can be a little dated for me.
For me, I had the memory that this was such a great show, groundbreaking 30-something.
Oh, yeah.
30-something for me was literally unwatchable. And I'm someone who will never get up and leave a movie. I have to see. I can't fast forward. And I stopped. I said, I cannot handle this. I'm like, I knew that this was the me decade of the 80s, but holy crap, were people full of themselves.
Was it? We were 20-somethings then, right?
Yeah.
And they were the 30-somethings.
Yeah. They were very clearly the yuppie, dink, upwardly mobile, with all kinds of existential angst because they're so successful and have so much money, they feel guilty about it. And it just, once again, I actually have on my to-watch list Battlestar Galactica, the early. Yes, so I watch multiple shows at once, and one of the shows I'm watching is Babylon 5, and I have a season left of that, and I was going to replace that with the original Battlestar, and then with the new Battlestar, but I may rethink that. I don't know.
I would think go ahead and try because maybe it was just my frame of mind at that time, and I'd give it a little bit more. I don't know if you remember the kid with the dog that the dog passed away.
Yeah.
So they made him a robot dog, and that was just a little too
much.
It was a little much for me, but they actually had a famous actor in that first movie. Ray Milland was was in Battlestar Galactica. First episode as one of the council leaders. But no, I should give it another chance. I have all the CDs. I think really what I wanted to do was I couldn't quite get the chronologically thing down because I still remember distinctly an episode where Starbuck gets stranded on a planet with a Cylon, and they become friends. And I'm like, so...
Now, are we talking Dirk Benedict, or are we talking Katie Sackhoff?
Dirk Benedict.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, where did this come? I couldn't even figure it out through IMDb. I think I've been able to figure it out now, but... It's just, okay, this is too much work. I'll have to stake back. But things get busy, right? But yeah, I'll make a little more effort onto that too as well. But yeah.
I have one question for you here as we finish up the pod, and I want to ask you live here, not live, but at least on record. I think I have somewhere, and I think you may be the source of it, is a very poor quality photograph of us as a young basketball players.
Correct.
So I think I might throw that up there for the folks to see what young Carlos and young Joe look like. I certainly can't believe you look any worse than I did that morning. Clearly, there was no time for hairbrushing.
No, my hair was awful.
You okay with throwing that out there?
I'm okay.
All right,
I'm okay
excellent,
with my expression.
excellent. Throw we'll show some love to the other members of our traveling basketball team.
Yeah.
And
I'd love to know what Dean Hedela's doing these days.
What's that?
I'd love to know what Dean Hedela's doing these days.
I would love to, too. You know what? Maybe we'll do as part of this, we'll have some of our teammates on and see what they think of these shows.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Good.
Anyways, Joe, I'm having a blast doing this with you. You and I will talk during the week and maybe figure out do we want to go with episode 2 or do we want to discuss 2 through 4 or is there another episode we want to concentrate on? But we'll come back with more White Shadow next week.
All right. Looking forward to it.
All right. Good talking to you, Joe.
Yep. Have a good day.
All right. Bye now.